few seconds. Hi, hello. We're live here in Salford for today's installment of the Daf Teruma on this sunny day. Here we go. Daf 26 Omrei Teruma. Rabbi Yitzchak, son of Rabbi Yossi, says that Rabbi Yochanan says, with regard to the disagreement between Rabbi Meir and Rabbi Yossi, everyone concedes in a case where one says the consecration of this animal as a substitute for burnt offering will take effect, and afterward the consecration of this animal as a substitute for a peace offering will take effect. In this case, everyone agrees that one attends only to the first statement. Divrei Hakol, so first Lashon Rishon. According to Rabbi Yitzchak, son of Rabbi Yossi, Rabbi Yochanan understands that Rabbi Meir and Rabbi Yossi disagree over how to evaluate the intention of the speaker, not about whether a person is always held accountable for the first expression that he uttered. Rather, everyone agrees that a person is not held accountable for the first expression that he uttered. This is evident for the latter part of Rabbi Yochanan's statement, where he states that Rabbi Meir would contend that if he wanted both sanctities to take effect, he could have said the substitute of the burnt offering and the peace offering. If Rabbi Meir did maintain that a person is always held accountable for the first expression that he uttered, then in that case too, since he first uttered the substitute of the burnt offering, the animal should have been fully consecrated as the substitute of the burnt offering. This proves that Rabbi Meir does not maintain that a person is always held accountable for the first expression that he uttered. Rather, he disagreed with Rabbi Yossi about how to evaluate the intention of the speaker. Indeed, when the Gemara in Tractate Zevachim 30 recites this statement of Rabbi Yitzchak, son of Rabbi Yossi, in the name of Rabbi Yochanan, it states, everyone agrees that sanctity of the peace offering does not take effect, and the Gemara does not say that everyone agrees that a person is not held accountable for the first expression that he uttered. I.e., the sanctity of a burnt offering takes effect, but the sanctity of a peace offering does not take effect. Likewise, everyone agrees that in a case where one says consecration of this animal as a substitute for a burnt offering shall not take effect unless the consecration of this animal as a substitute for a peace offering shall also take effect, the animal is consecrated as both a burnt offering and a peace offering. Rabbi Meir and Rabbi Yossi disagree only with regard to a case such as the one in our Mishnah, where one said this animal is a substitute of the burnt offering, the substitute of the peace offering. And as Rabbi Meir holds, since if he wanted both sanctities to take effect, he should have said the substitute of the burnt offering and the peace offering, but instead he said the substitute of the burnt offering and the substitute of the peace offering. He considered it like one who says the consecration of this animal as a substitute for a burnt offering will take effect, and afterward the consecration of this animal as a substitute for a peace offering will take effect. Therefore, according to Rabbi Meir, only the first sanctity takes effect. The second sanctity cannot take effect because the animal is already consecrated. And Rabbi Yossi holds that from the outset he intended both sanctities to take effect, and he did not say the substitute of the burnt offering and the peace offering because he reasoned that if he said that, one would say that he intends for the animal to be consecrated with two sanctities, half as a substitution of the burnt offering and half as a substitution of the peace offering. And if so, the animal cannot be sacrificed in the temple because it is impossible to sacrifice half of the animal as one type of offering and half as another type of offering. Therefore, Rabbi Yossi teaches us that when he says the substitute of a burnt offering, the substitute of a peace offering, he intends for the animal to be both entirely a burnt offering and entirely a peace offering. As he mistakenly thinks that such an animal can be sacrificed in the temple, but since he intended for both types of sanctity to take effect, the animal is half a burnt offering and half a peace offering. The stage is in a Braita. In the case of one who had two animals standing before him, one a burnt offering and one a peace offering, and he said with regard, sorry about that, 1 second. Okay. Where was I? And he said with regard to one of his non-sacred animals, this animal, half of it is a substitute of a burnt offering and half of it is a substitute of a peace offering. That animal is a substitute of a burnt offering and therefore entirely sacrificed as a burnt offering. This is a statement of Rabbi Meir. And the rabbis say it is left degraded till it becomes blemished and then it is sold. And the owner brings a substitute burnt offering with the payment for half the animal and a substitute peace offering with the payment for half the animal. The Braita concludes. Rabbi Yossi said, if that was his intent from the outset, and then since it is impossible to call two designations simultaneously, his statement stands, and the animal is half a burnt offering and half a peace offering, the Gemara objects. The opinion of Rabbi Yossi is identical to the opinion of the rabbis. The Gemara explains Rabbi Yossi taught the entire Braita, and the opinion of the rabbis in the Braita is Rabbi Yossi's opinion. It taught it is it is taught in another brayta. In a case where one says this animal, half of it is designated as a burnt offering, and half of it is designated as a sin offering. So what's the footnote? Chatzia ola v'chatzia chatos. If one who is obligated to bring a sin offering says this animal, half of it is designated as a burnt offering, and half of it is designated as a sin offering, the animal must be left to die, like other sin offerings that were rendered unfit and condemned to die. This halacha is in accordance with Rabbi Yossi. Rambam Sefer Vodi Hilchot Maaser Kabbalah 15:3. Rabbi Meir holds that we attend only to the first statement that he uttered, and therefore half of the animal becomes consecrated to the burnt offering. Since the animal cannot live if half of its body were removed, the sanctity spreads to the entire animal and is sacrificed entirely as a burnt offering. This is the statement of Rabbi Meir. Rabbi Yossi says those sanctities take effect, and as an animal cannot be sacrificed to offerings, it must be left to die. Rabbi Yossi Amar Thomas. Rabbi Yossi says it must be left to die. Rashi explains that according to Rabbi Yossi, the animal must be left to die because it has been consecrated as a sin offering by someone who is not obligated to bring a sin offering. It is comparable to other sin offerings which were rendered unfit and condemned to die. Others disagree with Rashi, contending that if one who is not obligated to bring a sin offering designates an animal as a sin offering, he said nothing of consequence, and the animal is not sacred. Tosfot explained instead that the brayta is referring to one who consecrated an animal as a substitute for a sin offering. And the law is that a substitute of a sin offering must be left to die. Yet others contend that the brayta is speaking of one who is obligated to bring a sin offering, but as this animal is consecrated as both a sin offering and a burnt offering, he cannot sacrifice this animal as a sin offering, and the sin offering that cannot be sacrificed must be left to die. And that's from the Ketef Mishnah based on the Rambam. Where was I? The brayta adds, and Rabbi Meir and Rabbi Yossi agree in a case where one says half of this animal is designated as a sin offering, half is designated as a burnt offering. If one who is obligated to bring a sin offering says this animal, half of it is designated as a sin offering, half is designated as a burnt offering, the animal must be left to die, like other sin offerings that were rendered unfit and condemned to die. This halacha is all opinions. Rambam Sefer Vodi Hilchot Maaser Kabbalah 15:13, and see the Ketef Mishnah and Lechem Mishnah there that the animal must be left to die. The Gemara clarifies that case with regard to which the brayta states that Rabbi Meir and Rabbi Yossi agree who is conceding to whom. Clearly, Rabbi Meir concedes to Rabbi Yossi that in that case, the halacha is that the animal must be left to die. The Gemara asks, isn't it obvious that Rabbi Meir concedes in that case? Just as in the first case of the brayta, where one mentioned the burnt offering first and the sin offering second, Rabbi Meir holds that only the first expression takes effect. So too, if one mentioned the sin offering first and the burnt offering second, only the first expression takes effect. This means that the animal is a sin offering, and therefore it must be left to die, as he is not obligated to bring a sin offering. The Gemara explains that the ruling of the brayta is necessary, lest you say, if he hadn't told us the opinion of Rabbi Meir in the latter case, I would say that the reason for the ruling of Rabbi Meir in the first clause of the Mishnah is not that we attend only to the first statement. Rather, I would say that this is Rabbi Meir's reason. In a case of the sanctity of a sin offering that is mixed with another sanctity in the same animal, the animal is sacrificed, and that is the reason Rabbi Meir rules that the animal is sacrificed as a burnt offering, despite the fact that the sanctity of the sin offering is also mixed with it. And if that is Rabbi Meir's reasoning, then even if one said half of this animal is designated as sin offering, and then said half is designated as burnt offering, the animal is sacrificed. Therefore, the brayta teaches that this is not the reason for Rabbi Meir's opinion. Rather, his ruling is due to the principle that we attend only to the first statement, and therefore Rabbi Meir and Rabbi Yossi agree in the latter clause of the brayta that the animal must be left to die. It is taught in another brayta. In a case of one who said this animal, half is designated as a burnt offering, and half is designated as a peace offering. What's a footnote? Behema zu chatzia ola v'chatzia shlomim. If one said if this animal half is designated as a burnt offering, half is designated as a peace offering, and the animal is consecrated but it is not sacrificed, rather the animal is left to grade till it becomes blemished, at which point it's sold, and the owner brings a burnt offering with the money of half the animal and the peace offering with the money of half the animal. And this halacha is according to the opinion of Rabbi Yossi. As the Rambam Sefer Vodi Hilchot Maaser Kabbalah 15:3, the animal is consecrated but is not sacrificed. The animal grades until it becomes blemished, at which point it is sold, and the owner brings a burnt offering with the money of half the animal and a peace offering with the money of half the animal. This animal renders a non-sacred animal that is exchanged for consecrated as a substitute, and its substitute is treated like. If one said this animal half is designated as a burnt offering and half is designated as a peace offering, the animal is consecrated but is not sacrificed. This animal renders a non-sacred animal for which it is exchanged consecrated as a substitute, and its substitute is treated like it. The Rambam Sefer Kabbalah Hilchot Teruma 3:3. I.e., it is not sacrificed, rather it grazes until it becomes blemished, and then is sold, and the owner brings a burnt offering with the money of half the animal and a peace offering with the money of half the animal. The Gemara asks, in accordance with whose opinion is the Baita Torah? It is in accordance with the opinion of Rabbi Yossi, who holds on accountable for both expressions that he uttered. The Gemara asks, isn't it obvious that Rabbi Yossi holds that in that case the animal is consecrated but is not sacrificed? Why is it necessary to teach this? The Gemara answers, it was necessary for the Baita to teach that its substitute is also not sacrificed. Lest you say, granted that the animal itself is not sacrificed, but its substitute is sacrificed. Therefore, the Baita teaches that the substitute is also not sacrificed. The Gemara explains the ruling of the Baita. What is different about the animal itself that it is not sacrificed? It's not sacrificed because its sanctity is deferred from the altar, since it is neither entirely a burnt offering nor fully a peace offering. So too, its substitute sanctity comes from the force of a deferred sanctity, as it was a substitution of an animal whose sanctity was deferred, may not be deferred either. Rabbi Yochanan says, with regard to an animal that belongs to two partners, what does that mean? Behemeshel shenei shetofim chulu. With regard to an animal that belongs to two partners, if one of the partners consecrates his half of the animal, and he then acquires the other half of the animal from his partner and consecrates it, the animal is consecrated and fit to be sacrificed. Although when he originally consecrated his half of the animal, it was not fit to be sacrificed because only half of it was consecrated. After he consecrated the entire animal, is fit to be sacrificed due to the principle that animals are not permanently disqualified. This animal renders a non-sacred animal for which it is exchanged consecrated as a substitute. This halacha is not in accordance with the opinion of Rabbi Yochanan. That's the Rambam Sefer Roda Hilchos Ma'aser Kabbalah 15:4. See the Ketov Mishnah and Lechem Mishnah there. If one of the partners consecrated half of the animal, Rashi explains that if one person owns the entire animal, he cannot consecrate only half of it, and the sanctity would spread throughout the entire animal. In this case, the sanctity cannot spread because the owner who consecrated the animal owns only half of it, and his consecration does not spread to the half that is owned by another. And then he acquired the other half of the animal from his partner and consecrated it, and the animal is consecrated but is not sacrificed. When he originally consecrated his half of the animal was not fit for sacrifice, and only half of it was consecrated. Although the animal is now fully consecrated, it can never again become fit for sacrifice since it was once disqualified. And this renders a non-sacred animal that is exchanged for a consecrated animal as a substitute, and the substitute is like it, as it too is consecrated but not sacrificed. So that moves on to Amud B. And that's the end of the Omen. Thank you much for listening, and all the best. I think